Please like and subscribe to Betrayed and Broken for more stories. Let's get started. Ever stop to wonder if anyone really sees you? Like the real you, not the version they want you to be? My parents, Susan and Mark, they had tunnel vision for my younger brother Ryan. Golden child wasn't even the word. He was their personal deity. Intellectual prodigy? Check. Excelled at everything they thought mattered? Double check. Piano recitals, school plays, debate club championships. Ryan owned them all. And Susan and Mark? Front row, center stage, clapping like it was an Olympic sport. Then there was me, Ethan Bell, the athlete, the fighter. My world was sweat-soaked mats and the roar of the boxing ring. Adrenaline was my drug. The pure, raw rush of a match, just me and the other guy, no room for anything else. Trophies piled up, medals overflowed drawers. Did they notice? Crickets. Never once in the stands. Not for district championships, not state, not even when I went to freaking nationals. Ryan's little piano thing, flowers, parties, bragging rights for weeks, my victories, celebrated in the echoing silence of empty gyms, or just in my own head. Coach Joe, though, he was my constant. More than a coach, he was the father I should have been born with. Joe believed in me when my own parents acted like I was invisible. After every match, win or lose, he'd sit me down, dissect it. What I did right, what I needed to fix. Strength wasn't just muscle, he'd drill into me. It was about getting your ass back up when the world wanted you on the canvas. Regional judo finals, man. That was my Everest, proudest day of my life, told my parents, beaming. Mom glanced up from her crossword. "That's nice, honey," she said, voice dripping with disinterest. "When is Ryan's next performance?" Felt like a knife twist. Stopped telling them about my matches after that. What was the damn point? Home was Ryan's shrine. His trophies gleaming on shelves, achievements framed like holy relics. Mine? Stuffed in a cardboard box in the corner of my room, gathering dust bunnies and forgotten dreams. Didn't hate Ryan. Couldn't. Wasn't his fault he was the chosen one. But late at night, staring at the ceiling in the dark, the unfairness would slam into me like a right hook, sucker punch to the gut, punch too. Did they even know who I was? Did they have a clue about the hours I poured into training? The punches I took? The times I'd been knocked down and clawed my way back up? Did they even care? Or was I just the spare son, the one who messed up their picture-perfect family portrait, stopped chasing their ghost of approval, channeled every ounce of anger, every drop of disappointment into my sport, proving it to myself? Joe taught me that real validation, the kind that mattered, came from inside. So I fought. Not for them, not for the empty applause. For me. In the ring, under the lights, I wasn't just Ethan, the overlooked son. I was Ethan Bell, the fighter, the champion, the guy who refused to be erased. College was a jailbreak. Finally, air. Escape from suffocating under the shadow of the other sun. My sports record got me in. Not grades, not daddy's checkbook, just blood, sweat, and years of pain. Ryan waltzed into some Ivy League place, parents practically throwing a ticker tape parade, so proud to bankroll their golden boy's future. Left home, didn't even glance back, barely went back for holidays. Mom would call, chirpy and fake, but it was always practice, training, got a project due. Anything to avoid that house, that suffocating feeling of being the outsider looking in. College, though. That's where the world flipped. Met Olivia. The second I saw her, everything clicked into place. Warmth radiated off her like sunlight. Smart as hell. And she saw me. Really saw me. Past the fighter, past the anger. Late-night talks in smoky coffee shops. Shared dreams whispered in hushed tones. That unspoken understanding that comes when someone finally sees you. We were inseparable, fast. Olivia believed in me, not because of the medals, but because of the mess of me, the real me. When she looked at me, I wasn't the shadow of Ryan. I was just Ethan. When she told me she wanted to marry me, couldn't breathe. First time in my life, I saw a future that wasn't just about surviving. A family, my own, built with someone who actually gave a damn. Meeting her parents was surreal, warm, genuine. They actually seemed to like me. But then the question hung in the air, thick and heavy as New York summer humidity, introducing Olivia to my family. Froze. Didn't want Olivia to meet them. How could I explain the ice in their veins, the emotional distance that stretched for miles, how they'd always made me feel like I was perpetually coming up short? Didn't want her to see that part of my life, the part that had warped so much of me. But Olivia, she was persistent, gently nudging, pushing. Bridge the gap, she'd say, eyes full of hope. Family, connections, giving people a chance. Against every instinct screaming at me, I caved, agreed. Bringing her home felt like marching into enemy territory. House looked the same, sterile and cold. But it wasn't home, never had been. Parents were polite, smiles stretched thin, fake as a Times Square Rolex. Ryan, naturally, owned the room, charming Olivia with his effortless wit, his intellectual arrogance, felt that familiar stab of resentment, sharp and clean. Dinner was a minefield. Parents lavished attention on Ryan, peppering him with questions about his studies, his brilliant future, his oh-so-fascinating life. Questions for me? Perfunctory, like they were reading from a script, ticking boxes on a checklist of parental obligation. Thanksgiving, just another duty. Mom called, voice tight, insisted I come home. Obligation, pure and simple. Wasn't excited, just didn't want the month-long guilt trip that would follow if I said no. Figured I could grit my teeth, survive one awkward dinner, and escape back to my real life. Arrived at the house, felt exactly as it always did. Like a place I was just passing through, never meant to stay. Her parents were already at the dining table, clinking wine glasses, faces plastered with cheer. Mom was practically glowing, radiating fake excitement like a faulty neon sign. Then she dropped the bomb. Ryan's bringing his fiancée tonight. Fiancée? My brain stalled. Ryan? Engaged? Didn't even know he was seriously dating anyone. But then again, why would I? Stopped giving a damn about his perfect life years ago. Still, I sat there, forcing a smile. trying to dredge up some semblance of polite interest. And then they walked in. Her. Olivia. On Ryan's arm. Smile dazzling, blinding. Diamond ring catching the light, flashing like a goddamn spotlight. Parents gasped, cooed, rushed to embrace her like she was the daughter they'd always dreamed of. Air punched from my lungs. World narrowed to that single horrifying tableau. The sound of their laughter, bright and brittle, echoing in my ears, mocking me. Olivia turned, caught sight of me. Smile flickered, died. Her eyes met mine, and for a split second, just a heartbeat, I saw it. Regret. Guilt. Something dark and cold, swimming beneath the surface. Whatever it wasn't enough, wasn't even close. Sat there in stunned, suffocating silence. Mind a blank, white-hot rage simmering just beneath the surface. Mom, oblivious, beaming, turned to me, voice dripping with saccharine sweetness. "Say something, Ethan. Aren't you happy for them?" Happy. The word tasted like acid in my mouth. Stomach churned, bile rising. Humiliation, rage, a toxic cocktail bubbling inside me. Fists clenched under the table, nails digging crescents into my palms. All I could manage, all I felt, was pure, raw, venomous fury. "I hope you all die in a house fire." The words ripped from my throat, cold, sharp, lethal, shattered the forced cheer like glass. Smiles evaporated. Parents stared, faces frozen in disbelief. Olivia's face drained of color, paper white. Ryan just stood there, arm possessively around her, like he couldn't process what had just detonated in the room. Didn't wait for their reactions. Didn't need to. Pushed back my chair, the screech of wood against polished floor echoing in the sudden, suffocating silence, and walked. Walked straight out the door. Drove away, hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the wheel. Couldn't tell if I was angrier at Olivia for the ultimate betrayal, Ryan for always taking, always winning, or myself for being stupid enough to believe, even for a second, that things could be different. Thanksgiving was obliterated, but so was everything else. My family, my past, my future, all crumbled to ash in an instant. And for the first time, a cold, liberating indifference washed over me. Didn't care if I ever saw any of them again. Walking out of that house on Thanksgiving, I was done. Finished. Through with the betrayal, the lies, the constant grinding reminder that I was disposable. They'd crossed the final, uncrossable line. No coming back from this. My parents, knowing Olivia was my girlfriend, had thrown a goddamn party to celebrate her engagement to Ryan. Olivia, the woman I'd loved, the woman I'd envisioned a life with, had not just cheated, but orchestrated a public humiliation of epic proportions. If that wasn't a neon sign screaming "You don't belong," I didn't know what was. But you know what? Screw them. They deserved each other. Ryan, always reaching for what wasn't his. Olivia, betraying me like it was a casual Tuesday. Let them have their perfect, twisted little life. I wanted no part of it. That night, I went scorched earth. Blocked all four of them. Parents, Ryan, Olivia. Deleted their numbers. Erased every text, purged every trace of them from my digital life. University campus, I became a ghost to Olivia. She tried a couple of times, calling my name across the quad, trying to corner me, to talk. Didn't give her the satisfaction of a glance. She'd made her choice, and my choice was to erase her. For a while, the rage simmered, a constant, low-grade burn. Thought about teaching Ryan a lesson, showing him he couldn't always just waltz in and take whatever he wanted. But then, bigger picture, he wasn't worth it. They weren't worth it. No way was I risking my future, my freedom, to settle a score with someone as pathetic as him. Some distant family members, the kind who only surface for weddings and funerals, reached out later, wondering why I was MIA at holidays, family gatherings. Told them the truth. I don't belong there. Simple, direct, final. Most didn't push. Maybe they sensed the raw edges of my anger. Maybe they just didn't care enough to dig. Didn't matter. Cutting them all out of my life was like finally exhaling after being held underwater for too long. The crushing weight lifted. Life wasn't suddenly sunshine and rainbows, but it was better, cleaner, quieter. Focused on my training, my studies, the few people who actually mattered. Sometimes, cutting out toxic people isn't a choice. It's self-preservation. And for the first time in years, I felt like I could actually breathe, actually live. After that chapter slammed shut, I decided I was done with bonds, with love, with all the messy, unreliable human connections. Trust was a fragile thing, and I wasn't about to let anyone shatter it again. So I dove headfirst into what I could control: my studies, my training, my future. Fighting was still my passion, burned in my blood, but I knew deep down I wasn't going to be the next big boxing god, the next judo legend, and that was okay. The discipline, the grit, the relentless drive I'd learned in the ring, that carried me through college, propelled me into a real career, landed a job at a major auto manufacturer, felt like I'd finally found my place. Work was demanding, challenging, but rewarding in a way trophies never were. Gave me purpose, structure, something solid to focus on beyond the ghosts of my past. Life settled into a rhythm I controlled. Wake up before dawn, hit the gym, push my body to its limits. Then office, grind, work, always striving to be better than the day before. Evenings were mine. Most nights, I'd head to a dive bar in Brooklyn, grab a cheap beer, and watch whatever boxing match was on TV. Seeing fighters in the ring, that raw, primal energy, always reignited that spark, reminded me who I was, what I loved. Home was quiet, and I liked it that way. No drama, no demands, no betrayals lurking in the shadows. Just me, my space, my peace, sleep, wake, repeat. Some people might call it boring. To me, it was freedom. For the first time in a long time, I felt in control, unburdened by anyone else's expectations, anyone else's lies. Sure, there were moments. Catching a glimpse of a couple holding hands on the subway, overhearing a coworker talking about their kid's school play. A flicker of something, regret, loneliness, pushed it down, slammed the door on those feelings. Love had been a weapon in my life, wielded to hurt, to manipulate, to control. I didn't need it. Life wasn't perfect, but it was mine. Every step, every decision, every carefully constructed routine was on my terms. And for now, that was enough. Then the phone rang. Mom. A voice from a past I thought I'd buried 6 feet under. Against every fiber of my being, I answered. Her voice was the same, calm, controlled, but with that unmistakable edge of ice that meant she wanted something, demanded something. Ethan, you need to come home. There's an emergency. You have to come. The words hit me like a brick wall. How did you even get this number? Didn't ask. Didn't care. Just hung up. Whatever emergency they were cooking up, it wasn't my problem. Few minutes later, phone buzzed again. Coach Joe. Only person who'd ever felt like family. Only one who'd seen the real me. Flaws and all, and still stood by me. Couldn't ignore Joe. Answered. His tone was different. Softer. Hesitant. Almost pleading. Ethan, I know this isn't what you want to hear, but I need you to come home. It's important. Knew it. Parents had sicked him on me. Knew he was the only one I might even consider listening to. Part of me wanted to say no, slam the phone down, block his number too. But it was Joe. The man who'd been there for every match, every win, every brutal loss. Fine, I said, voice clipped, cold. I'll come. The drive upstate felt like a descent into a nightmare, stepping back into a life I'd spent years clawing my way out of. Memories flooded in, sharp and painful, sitting in the back seat as a kid, invisible, while parents fawned over Ryan for some meaningless school award. Every mile marker felt heavier, dragging me back. The closer I got to that house, the more I could feel the weight of their indifference, their casual cruelty, their ultimate betrayal. Didn't know what kind of emergency awaited me. But I knew one thing for damn sure. Whatever it wasn't about me. I wasn't coming back for them. I was coming back because Joe asked me to. For him, and only him. Walking into that house felt like stepping onto a stage where everyone was reading from a script they hadn't even bothered to rehearse. Dad opened the door, plastered on that fake used car salesman's smile, trying to play happy family for the cameras. Mom was sitting at the kitchen table, hands clasped so tight her knuckles were white, face pale, eyes hollow. The whole scene reeked of desperation. Skipped the fake pleasantries. Cut the crap, I said, voice flat, crossing my arms. What's the emergency? They exchanged a look, the kind that said they were bracing themselves for a major sales pitch. Mom spoke first, voice trembling, theatrically fragile. Ethan, it's Ryan. He has cancer. The words hung in the air, thick and cloying as cheap perfume. But they didn't land, didn't hit me the way they clearly expected, just stood there unmoved. Dad jumped in, voice suddenly urgent, trying to close the deal. We need your help, Ethan. He needs a bone marrow transplant. And you're the only match. Raised an eyebrow, cold disbelief washing over me. Why not you, or Mom? Mom's face crumpled, tears welling in her eyes, manufactured grief on full display. We're We're not a match. Ryan has a rare blood type. Yours. Let that toxic information sink in for a long, silent moment. Then pushed back my chair, the legs scraping harshly against the tile floor, stood up. Your problem, I said, voice like ice. You deal with it. I'm out. Turned and walked. Walked straight out of that house. Didn't even glance back. Leaving them sitting there, drowning in their manufactured melodrama. As far as I was concerned, their precious golden boy could have all the golden sympathy he wanted. I wasn't part of their twisted little world anymore, and I sure as hell wasn't about to let them drag me back in. Not even for this. Reached the front door. Felt Dad's hand clamp on my arm, fingers digging in. Turned. He was on his knees. Tears streaming down his face. Real tears for once. Ethan, please, he begged, voice cracking, raw with desperation. He's your brother. We need you. For a split second, just a flicker, I froze. Not because of his words, but because I'd never seen him like this. Stripped bare, desperate, vulnerable. Might have made a difference once. A long, long time ago. But not now. Pulled my arm free. His grip weak, pathetic. Stepped towards the door. Then Mom's voice, sharp, venomous, cracked through the fragile silence. You're so selfish. After everything, you're just gonna walk away? You've always been like this, Ethan. Always thinking only about yourself. Stopped dead. Her words hit me. Not because they hurt, not anymore. But because they were so utterly breathtakingly absurd. Turned back slowly. Locked eyes with her. And I saw it. The same cold, calculating judgment that had always been reserved for me. But this time, I wasn't a scared kid anymore. This time, I had something to say. All my life, I began, voice steady, but laced with years of buried pain, years of silent screams. You two treated me like I was invisible. Tell me, Mom. Voice rising, cracking. How many championships have I won? Can you even name one? Silence. Her eyes flickered away. Tell me who filled out my college applications. Oh, that's right. It was me. Who paid for my tuition? Me again. Stepped closer, each word a punch. And tell me, just tell me, how many times did you even think about me after you were done throwing your money and your precious praise at Ryan? Silence, thick and suffocating, stepped closer still, eyes boring into hers, burning with years of resentment. And today? Today, when you finally picked up the phone to call me, it wasn't for me, was it? It was for him. Your only son, right? Not for the one you gave birth to and then left to rot. Voice shaking now, raw with emotion. Well, here I am, Mom. Your rotten son. Standing right in front of you. She stared, speechless. Mouth opening and closing, like a fish gasping for air. Trying to form a response, but the words wouldn't come. You made me this way, I said, voice rising, cracking, breaking. You made me someone who doesn't care, someone who doesn't need you, someone who doesn't know you from a damn stranger on the street. So deal with it. Turned on my heel and walked out, slammed the door behind me, And for the first time in years, a strange, hollow kind of freedom settled over me. Not because I was leaving, but because I'd finally said what needed to be said. They wanted me to save Ryan, but they'd never understood, never realized. I wasn't their son anymore. Not really. They'd killed that bond a long time ago. That evening, the phone rang again. Joe. His voice was heavy, somber, weighted down with something unspoken. Ethan, he began, hesitant, like he didn't know how to break the news. Ryan's gone. He passed away earlier today. Sat there in silence, staring at the cracked plaster of my apartment wall. The words didn't land, didn't hit me like they might have if we'd ever been close, if I'd felt anything for him in years. Instead, just emptiness. They were too late to call you, Joe added, his voice quieter now, almost a whisper. Could sense him testing the waters, seeing if I'd crack, if I'd break down. Didn't. Okay, I said simply, and hung up. Didn't ask about Olivia. Didn't need to. Could guess she wasn't there. Ryan had become useless to her the moment he couldn't offer her the perfect, glittering life she craved. And in some twisted, cynical way, that didn't surprise me at all. Weeks later, an old college friend, someone I hadn't spoken to in years, reached out, sharing news I hadn't seen coming. Olivia. Dead. Car crash. She'd been partying, high on something, lost control. The girl who'd once whispered about a future together, who'd betrayed me without a second thought, had self-destructed in spectacular fashion. Life, messy and brutal, had a way of tying up its loose ends, I guess. My parents, on the other hand, seemed determined to untangle theirs, started calling me every week. Didn't answer. They'd already used up their second, third, and fourth chances years ago. Some distant relatives, bless their misguided hearts, reached out too, spouting all the usual cliches. They're trying to make it up to you. They've changed. Wasn't buying it. Told them exactly what I thought. The only reason they're calling is because I'm all they have left. If Ryan was still alive, I wouldn't even exist in their world. So spare me the guilt trip. Joe, ever the steady, grounding force in my life, suggested therapy. Brushed him off at first. But the more I thought about it, staring at the same cracked wall, the more I realized he might be right. I'd spent so many years building walls, brick by brick, around my heart, that I didn't know how to tear them down, even for myself. So I started. Therapy. Slowly, hesitantly, like stepping into a cold shower. It's not easy, facing all the broken pieces you've tried to bury, all the raw wounds you've ignored. But I'm trying. For the first time in a long time, I'm actually trying to mend the shattered pieces of my emotional life. Don't know where this path leads. But for now, I'm walking it. And for the first time in years, a fragile, tentative hope flickers in the darkness. Maybe, just maybe, it will turn out okay. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.